Welcome to the Jones Review.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Jones Review. This is B. Jones coming at you in the latest in entertainment news. Everyone better buckle up because it's going to be a fun ride. On today's episode, I have my guest here, my brother, Jon Knecht. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful. I am so excited to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here, man. We got amazing content ahead of us. And also, I have here my producer, Scott Kramer.
I appreciate it.
What's up, man?
I'm here. I'm alive. I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. And obviously, we got our first YouTube stream going. So, hi, everyone on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in to the Jones Review. It's great to be here and happy to produce your show as always, brother.
Awesome, brother. Anyways, me and Scotty, we've been talking and we want to spice up the show a little bit. So, we're doing something different here. We got camera set up to where you can see me, John, and even Scotty. So that's something up. And also, I would like to change the 1 through 10 scale rating to a five-star rating instead. Just been getting a lot of feedback, and I just want to improve myself on each episode. So thank you to everyone for giving me that great feedback. And also, our topics that we will be covering over today's episode will be Marvel Spider-Man and its remaster, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Harley Quinn, Army of the Dead, Warner Brothers company as a whole, and their future content that they will be showing soon. But everyone, you are live on the Jones Review. You can participate by contacting this number at 937-775-5555, or you can participate by live chat within the show. Also, the views and opinions of the Jones Review do not reflect the views and opinions of the WWSU Radio, Wright State University, nor their entities. And you are live on the Jones Review on 106.9 FM, WWSU, Dayton's Right Choice. Or you're listening to it on phone, laptop, or tablet. But now to switch gears here, let's talk about our first topic, John, Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, what isn't there to talk about this game? It was one of the most anticipated releases probably of the past decade.
I agree.
I personally am a huge Spider-Man fan. I grew up on all the video games, so this was definitely one of my most anticipated games to come out. And it surely lived up to all of its potential. There's so many wonderful things to talk about this game and the developer Insomniac Studios and where they're going forward. To this day, it's been almost 3 years in this game. The replayability is just so amazing. So, we have so many factors to talk about and, the wonderful accomplishments that it surely set out to do.
I totally agree. I agree upon that, John, because Spider-Man so lived up to the hype. And I literally got a PlayStation because of Spider-Man, because I just wanted to play that. It was the Sony exclusive during that time, and still is. But just Insomniac Studios just gotten that upgrade from Sony, and it's something else. Like, it just, as they continue upon each year with each game as it evolves over time, it's graphically amazing, and it's just the way they definitely applause to that, because Insomniac they make great Spider-Man games, and just the way they made these games are just beautiful.
Yeah. You have to give them a lot of respect. I believe they had the choice by Marvel back in 2016 to choose really any superhero they wanted to do, and they went with Spider-Man. And I think a lot of Spider-Man fans appreciate that, because we've been craving a new Spider-Man game since the release of Spider-Man 2 back in 2004. So
yeah,
we definitely lucked out in that regard, and I think, and it's kind of paved the way for a whole new release of these new superhero games that aren't movie-based.
I totally agree with that, and just it's something that definitely Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man is an example of a great video game should be created and how it should be created. And with this review and everything, I want it to be something that's beautiful and creative, and something that it's true meaning to this review and stuff. So I gotta say, I love how Marvel Spider-Man, it shows the best version of Spider-Man. This is the most advanced Spider-Man you ever seen. Like, this is at his prime. Like, he knows his powers. He's evolved over the years from that that little nerd from high school into like a a grown up or a young adult who's trying to figure out life and who has a job, and he's trying to balance that, or he sort of is getting used to balancing his normal life with his superhero life. And I think that shows, and it shows his character development over the years as Peter Parker, as Spider-Man. And I think it's a great version of Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Oh,
What
of
do you
course.
think?
Yeah, I mean, well, not only is he the most advanced Spider-Man that we've seen in the video games yet, but also I would argue that Insomniac has created this wonderful triad of basically a combination of all the wonderful, you know, Spider-Mans we've seen in the past. This game is almost the perfect blend of the Raimi films, the Andrew Garfield films, and then of course
Yeah.
Tom Holland. And tonally, it just, everything from the scripts to the music to the gameplay to the environment, it's this wonderful blend that, they managed to perfectly nail. And I think that's what made this game so attractive to people, is that no matter what generation you grew up on with Spider-Man, are drawn to this game and the environment it creates. So I think that, from the start, it's clear that they had really high ambitions for this game.
Yeah, that says a lot right there. And it's just the way John was explaining that, just it is definitely a blend of all three Spider-Men into one Spider-Man. And just the way the character models look, it from the first character model, it looked like sort of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield combined. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. I mean, I think it definitely, when I look at it, I see their Peter Parker. I don't necessarily every time see Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield blend. So it
Right.
definitely stands on its own.
Mhm.
But I think you can definitely see the inspiration and perhaps why they chose the face model that they did.
Right.
Going off of the character models, I think they're absolutely stunning. I mean, this is definitely I would argue, a peak PS4 game, right up there with The Last of Us 2 and Uncharted 4, that all kind of show off the powers of the PlayStation 4. As many gamers know, it usually takes a couple or few years after a new console releases to really be able to see its potential. And I think we're so lucky that Spider-Man was able to show this off. Especially with the remastered version, like character models almost look, like real people.
Yeah,
just adds,
literally, it's kind of scary, but
Mhm.
I think they also made his Peter Parker's face model look like Tom Holland mainly. I'm not sure if Sony had something to deal with that or something, but
Yeah, I do agree. That was one of my issues with the new one, was that it does look too much like Tom Holland. I think it still stands out as its own. I do have some personal gripes with it. I think, they could have made him look a little more mature considering he was 23, and
right,
there was something with the original face model I felt like that had really conveyed the sense that this is a more mature Peter Parker. So, it's interesting to see what they'll do with the next one,
right.
especially with the feedback they received. But overall, I don't think it was a devastating change overall.
It was an instant classic right off the bat when it first came out, and it was a hit. And I wanted to play that game when it first came out, and I was able to play it. And my dad got me a PS4 for Christmas, and I was pretty happy. And I was able to play Spider-Man. I'm like, man, this is so awesome! This is crazy. And I was just like, this is Spider-Man. Like, this is without a doubt the true Spider-Man right here. And I felt like Spider-Man playing it, and just with the DualShock PlayStation controllers, like. With the vibration and everything, and how Spider-Man swung from his web, it just felt like you were truly Spider-Man with that experience. So I really appreciate that as a fan and also as a gamer. And it just I loved how the villains looked. They looked amazing. Visually, they looked amazing, and it just the graphics and the way the characters were developed, and it just the way the story came together too was just so amazing. It's just such a great game. What are your thoughts on just the character models and just the way the characters were developed? And what do you think of New York, by the way? I know you're a huge fan of that state, New York.
Yeah.
New York City.
Well, I would argue the map of this game, New York, is definitely as big a character as any of the other ensemble members we have. To start off, though, with the human characters, I think obviously as we mentioned, the models look wonderful, but it's also their character development that's amazing, the way they were written. I think there was, again, this really special blend of, maintaining the status quo of these characters that we love, like Mary Jane, Peter Parker, and then the villains like Doc Ock, but also giving them something more to add to the plate that we haven't seen before. For instance, Mary Jane, there were the controversial missions you could play as her, and you really got to see more depth as her in a character. But overall, you felt like you knew these characters because they were very familiar to you, and they were already established in this universe. But just because of how developed they were, they felt like, real people. And I think that's kind of something that, at least in the Spider-Man universe, we've only seen really in the movies. We haven't seen much in the games. So I think the development was absolutely tremendous with this. But yeah, moving on to the map, which I think is probably just as important, if not more important than the other characters. Insomniac absolutely nailed this. We have never probably had as accurate a rendition of New York City as we have as in this game. We've had other Spider-Man games. I think Spider-Man 2 was the first one to really capitalize off of the open sandbox, and was the first one where you're
really nailed the way New York would usually look like and everything. And it's just, it was something that hasn't been done before in games.
Right.
I totally agree.
Well, for 2004, I mean, that would have been, people.
That would have been great, like graphically, like
and it
back
was.
then. Yeah.
And still is.
Yeah.
I just will never forget the E3 showing of this game when they had Spider-Man climb up to the Empire State Building, and you got to see the full scale of the map. And I was like, my jaw dropped. Because if you've been in New York before, if you've taken that ride up the elevator, the view is almost identical. Of course, it's not 100% identical. It's still the game. But what they managed to accomplish with that is just phenomenal. It's one of the reasons I keep coming back to it. Almost 3 years later, is just, swinging around the city. Sometimes I even call it a New York simulator because you can walk down the street and the streets are just as lively below as they are up in the sky. And it's attention to detail that is just so appreciated. You can, walk down the street and these are NPC characters interacting with one another or calling out for taxis. And there are all these landmarks that are in New York that have never really been featured before in previous games, like Rockefeller Center or, some people, I think one guy even found his apartment building. It really makes the world more alive, and it allows you to really appreciate the story more.
And appreciate Spider-Man himself, and appreciate the characters that are in it too, and just appreciate just what Insomniac has created and what kind of universe they're trying to create in the future too. And also liked how they incorporated the character Miles Morales, and it kind of foreshadowed to what he becomes in the game too. But we'll talk about that soon. But, also appreciate that they incorporated him into the game, too. And also like the actor who plays as him, too. And just, he looked amazing in the game, too. Just the way his character model looks. And it's just, I got to say, well done, Insomniac Studios. And it's well done. And how I would rate this. Also, the gameplay of Spider-Man was great, too. The fighting combat was amazing. He felt agile and flexible, and how Spider-Man would usually fight somebody, and he had that agility type combat to him. And as you play as him, you can tell like he's flexible and agile and everything. So that adds that to the table for Spider-Man. But for my review, I'm going to change it up a little bit now. For my reviews from now on, I'm going to do a out of 5 stars. And I'll give this game a 4 out of 5 stars. What would you rate it, John?
I'd rate it the same, 4 out of 5 stars, definitely. Absolutely phenomenal game. There's some room for improvement that I hope we see with the sequels, particularly with some of the swinging mechanics. But this hit it out of the park. So definitely a 4 out of 5 for me.
I totally agree with that, John. And it's just they got so much to improve on, but they just hit it on just right off the bat. Like, it's just amazing. Just stunning graphics, stunning gameplay, amazing characters, well thought out story, and it's authentic, and it's a great game to play for newcomers who want to play a great quality Sony exclusive game, and it's definitely a great exclusive game to play, quality game. But yeah, also, if you guys are tuning in on the Jones Review, you can still participate by calling in at 937-775-5555, because everyone, I am interested in what you guys have been watching are playing, like a movie or a TV show or a new video game you have been playing. And also, you can send messages through the live chat and just text and send a message, and we'll respond. And if you have
Even on the YouTube chat now. We're on YouTube now, too.
Yeah, we're also on YouTube. I keep forgetting that. We're also streaming on YouTube. So
I got the live chat right here. So if anybody wants to throw us a message, feel free to, or just give us a call.
Yeah, but if not, then we can switch gears and switch over to our next review here, which is Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, John, what are your thoughts on that? Because my thoughts on Miles Morales is that I think it improved on Spider-Man and improved on the gameplay and how he swings from a web and just the style of it. And it's just a different style, and it's something that shows a different side, and it puts a different take on Miles Morales with Insomniac Spider-Man. Yep. And I think it's a great... I'm not going to call it an expansion because, in my opinion, I think it's a whole game. And, it's just... I loved how they brought Miles Morales, and, of course, Peter Parker's in it, too, because he's mentoring him along the way. But also liked how it was optimized for the PS5. And the graphics are stunning, and of course they look like real people, of course, but the CGI is great, and the storyline is exceptional and thrilling along the way when you play the storyline. And I gotta say the swinging mechanics are improved, and they added the Venom blast, which is one of Miles Morales' abilities that he uses. But what are your thoughts on Miles Morales, John?
Well, I think I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I am calling it an expansion only because I think it is the best they could have ever hoped for.
Hold on there, John. We're getting a phone call real quick, man.
Oh, wonderful.
Good afternoon, or good morning, I should say. Welcome to Jones Review.
Or verified.
Oh, well, looks like that's not for us.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, everybody. Looks like we got another spam call. usually they call our office phone. That's a little bit of a surprise. So sorry about that, everybody. Sorry for cutting you off too, there, John. Go on ahead, man.
No, I was just saying that the only reason I disagree is because I think this expansion was the best they could have ever hoped for. And if this is what they do with an expansion, imagine what they're going to do with a full sequel. Now, I'm not calling it a DLC because it's obviously a full game in its own right, has its own story, its own plot. And I definitely agree with you in that regard that it's its own standalone game. But I personally call it an expansion because of just what they could have done was giving us a 20-minute game. They gave us like an hour and a half game. Or what was the story?
It was like an hour and 20 minutes, or it could be like at least 3 hours.
Not considering gameplay.
Yeah.
So, and that I just do that because I want to set the expectations for the next game because this was a huge surprise announcement at E3. I mean, I don't think anyone was expecting.
I wasn't expecting this either. Me and my friend Kyle Burns, we were just watching this. We were like, "What? There's a Miles Morales game? Like, oh snap! Watch out, everyone!" Like, I guess we gotta just agree to disagree. But we weren't expecting this game at all, and it's just applaud to Insomniac Games for another great quality game, even though it's short. But I think it improves on what the first Spider-Man game was, and I think it did please the gamers and their fans on what had to be improved on and what still can be improved on for the sequel. But yeah, what are your thoughts on what the improvements could be for the future of Spider-Man? But before we change that topic, I liked how they had different enemy types and just the way the combat was and the Venom blast attacks. Like, that was something that Peter Parker can't do, too. And, what were your thoughts on the boss fights in the game?
Yeah, I thought the boss fights were extremely strategic and required you to use, of course, all the powers you gain throughout the game. It was definitely something optimized for the PS5. So when you're fighting these enemies, you really get a feel for the controller and all the adaptive triggers and the vibrations. And I think what was really unique about the boss fights were that they were different stages. They weren't just some simple button mashers. I mean, you really had to use strategy, and that just increases the replayability factor. I know there was a fight with Rhino, and the final boss fight, of course, that requires a lot of actually active thinking and it's kind of a process of elimination as you go through and die and try it
Right.
again. So I think that was one thing that was actually pretty well done in the first one, but just, was expanded upon even more in this one. So that was, I think definitely a highlight of the game.
Yeah, I agree with that because I've also forgot to mention this in the first Spider-Man game, that the way the villains were incorporated into the game, it had not every single villain, but it had the most popular villains that you fought as a boss fight in the first Spider-Man game, which was great. And then also in this game, Miles Morales, I like how they kind of recycle Rhino and reuse him within the storyline. I think that's kind of cool, and they kind of gave him like a cool costume too.
Mhm.
But I think it's kind of cool how Miles Morales was fighting Rhino. I thought that was pretty cool. What were your thoughts on them reusing Rhino and using Rhino as like kind of like a reused main villain of the story?
At first it was a little bit of a surprise, but it was a welcome surprise. I think they definitely did some new, unique things with the character. I know, like, one of the missions, you're fighting through a mall as he's tumbling through everything.
I thought that was a stunning sequence to do, and how Miles has saved the baby and he like moved the baby over and still punched Rhino. I thought that was an awesome sequence,
Mhm.
and it's just the way they incorporated Peter Parker mentoring him as they're fighting Rhino, and I think that was a beautiful segment of the story, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
the main villain of this one was also a less popular villain of
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
The Tinkerer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of deviated from the first one a little bit, whereas the first one was kind of a more of an ensemble of the classic Spider-Man villains. This one kind of did a more unique twist on a less popular villain. I do hope for the sequel that we go back to kind of seeing more of the classic villains, because I think definitely, even though they're in most Spider-Man adaptations, we also want to see what these new villains like the Green Goblin or Venom are going to look like in this universe.
Right.
It's kind of almost like the Christopher Nolan Batman series, where
Right.
it's like it's such a different tone, and portrayals are so different that you kind of want to see how they're gonna twist up these certain characters. So I do hope for the sequel that we get return of more of the classic favorites.
Right. And I just hopefully in my opinion, I think that the villains are just gonna get better from here, because of course I think they're gonna add Green Goblin and maybe even Hobgoblin too, and then probably Venom, and I think a surprise, maybe I'm just throwing this out there, but Carnage maybe, or like some other odd villain that we haven't seen before, but they probably will add certain classic villains to that. But also, Miles Morales is a great Spider-Man game, and also it continues the storyline, but in Miles' perspective, and it's just such a great game, great storyline, stunning graphics. The gameplay's phenomenal, or the combat, I should say, is phenomenal, and it's just a stunning performance, and Insomniac, well done for sure. For my scale, from a 5 stars perspective, I would give this a 5 out of 5, because it definitely improved on the Spider-Man gameplay, and you felt like Spider-Man playing the game too, but it was basically Miles Morales' style of being Spider-Man, and it just also just the message was just be yourself and everything, and do it in your own way, in your own form that you're comfortable with. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, definitely. I mean, my rating is personally a 4 out of 5. I think it improved a lot on certain things from the first game, but I also think just naturally, because of the size of the game, it was a little smaller in scope than the first one, and it
Right.
wasn't able to accomplish as much. So for that reason, it kind of cancels out for me.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think some major improvements that were needed with the first one, they didn't have time to accomplish with this one. So it's 4 out of 5. Still amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, John. And it's just, I'm excited for the future of the Spider-Man games and whatever Insomniac Incorporated do over the future, or the company, I should say. No, Insomniac Studios, I should say. Excuse me. I'm just excited for what their future product is, and also they got like a new Ratchet and Clank game coming out soon, right?
Yep, it's coming out in about next week. I want to say, I forget what date it is exactly.
It's like June. Yeah, it does come out next
June
week.
11th,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah. That game looks amazing. Like, they definitely improved on Ratchet and Clank for sure, and it's just another stunning game that they have, and with the future futuristic technology they have now with the power of the PS5 and I think Unreal Engine 5. I don't think they use that, but I know for sure that they're using like better futuristic technology to improve the graphics and make the gameplay stunning.
Right.
Yeah, but if anyone wants to still participate, you can still call the number at 937-775-5555, and also you can participate by live chat within the show. And if you're also watching it on YouTube, you can participate by sending a message in the live chat too. Well, of course, everyone's watching.
Yeah, feel free to throw a
Yeah.
subscription too. Catch the Jones Review, get notifications when we're going live.
Right.
And as always, 11:30 to 1 p.m. every Friday.
That's right, Scotty. Now back to our next review, and our next review is going to be Harley Quinn, the animated TV show. So, what are your thoughts on that, John? What are your thoughts on Harley Quinn?
Well, I've seen the pilot only. It's the only episode I've seen of the show. I think, it's definitely a little bit of a unique twist in the character, kind of getting her away from the Joker. That's the whole premise of the show is,
Right.
what she does on her own. I think it's definitely a darkly comedic take on, it almost seems to be a more adult take on the Batman animated series from the 90s.
Right.
But, I kind of got this feeling, at least from the first episode, that I've seen this before. Maybe I have to get into it more and see, what, how it really changes up things. But, as far as Harley Quinn goes, I feel like that character has just been portrayed in such a different light recently in the past 10 years, starting with Arkham Asylum, that, it's kind of, everyone seems to be doing the same thing with this character, which is like
trying to make her own character, basically.
Yeah. And it might just be growing pains of marking a new phase of the character, because it seems like Arkham Asylum came out and then everyone started to adopt this whole new look for her with the ponytails and, completely changing up the character. So, I'm not the hugest I'm not the biggest Batman fan, so my opinion may not be as valid, but, I just, from what I saw from the show, it just seems to be a little, redundant in my opinion, but, it might just be a matter of getting more into it. The animation, I think, was wonderful.
The animation was beautiful, and of course, like we talked about, it seemed like it was the animation's fluid and it's attractive to look at. It's kind of weird to say attractive, but I think it brings that type of animation that you can watch and it brings your attention like that, like just quick, just something that you can watch and everything. But with everything that's been releasing and all the content that has been releasing, Harley Quinn is a different. Well, also you got to think about it. Harley Quinn also launched DC Universe, the streaming app that they were creating, and it's called something else like DC Infinite or something. But it's something that it's a great show, and it's definitely catches your attention as a viewer. And of course, like you said, it's more of an adult version of the Batman animated series, and it's a dark take on DC characters. But anyways, we're probably gonna come back on this topic, and we're probably gonna take our break soon and get ready for commercials and everything. But we'll come back on the Jones Review to continue to talk about Harley Quinn. So stay tuned, everyone, and welcome to the Jones Review.
Welcome to the Jones Review.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Jones Review here. Here I have my guest here, Jon Knecht, my brother right here. What's up, John?
Hello, I'm doing wonderful.
Awesome. And also I have my producer here, Scott Kramer.
Good to be
What's
here as
up?
always, brother.
Awesome, brother. Well, welcome back to the Jones Review. Also, if you still would like to participate, call the number at 937-775-5555. Or you can participate by sending a message through the live chat. And also, let's continue with our review for Harley Quinn. Excuse me. Well, yeah, back to Harley Quinn here. So, Harley Quinn, where we left off at, it sort of feels like it's overdone too, like you said, or redundant, because it seems like we've seen this character model of Harley Quinn like over basically the last 10 years with her has a ponytail type hairstyle, and she's dressed like a nurse or just like a regular teen, or just regular person or something. Also, just she got that makeup on to look like a clown, and this is Harley Quinn. But also, just I like how it's a different take, but more a mature approach to these DC characters. Also, they do a different take for Superman, Wonder Woman, and also Batman. And I think Aquaman was in one of the episodes too. If you haven't checked it out too, it's so funny, and it's just also like I think I like the voice for Poison Ivy too, and it just adds that comedic approach that Poison Ivy too. And then I think even like the villain Kite Man is in it too, and I think he dates Poison Ivy too. So it's just a funny approach to these DC characters, and like gives them that realistic emotional tone to them too. But for Harley Quinn, I would give this a 3 out of 5 stars. How would you rate Harley Quinn, John?
Well, Bailey, I feel like I'm playing copycat here, but I think our ratings are just kind of really similar. I'd also give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, because I understand that I don't give like bad reviews so far, but I probably will soon in the future. But I'm just choosing great shows right now.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
man. I'm like, man, Bailey's always choosing the stuff that he gives like 80% or higher,
Right.
Reviews.
Right. Because I like great shows and great content and great movies and great video games, because they're always stunning. They tell a compelling storyline, and they tell different stories. And I always liked great, well done, thought out, written incredibly well on certain shows or movies or video games. So I really like reviewing great content, if you guys can understand that. And everyone else watching here, that's what I like to do too. But soon I might have a movie that I give a bad review on. You never know. But everything right now is just amazing content right now. And that's what I want to give to the people and to the friends and family who are listening right now too. But also, let's change gears here and let's switch to our next review. Army of the Dead, one of the most hottest movies out right now on Netflix, streaming on Netflix, and I think you can watch it at your nearest local theater too. So, Army of the Dead. So, what are your thoughts on it, John, of Army of the Dead?
Well, I only know the premise so far. I haven't actually given this a viewing yet. It's a planned heist in a casino during a zombie outbreak. I believe
Yes,
is what it is. Yeah.
zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. So,
Kind of reminds me of Dead Rising 2.
I
The
was
way it
literally
sounds,
thinking,
right?
Yeah. Army of the I was say Army of the Dead Rising. Yeah, but Army of the Dead, I really like the zombie movie because this Zack Snyder kind of developed and changed the zombie genre of movies and kind of upgraded the zombies to give it that more horror, terrifying look to it, and of course scare the audience. But I like how they added zombie alphas where they're more organized than your average zombie. They used some type of language in a way, like, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, but it seems like they're a pack of wolves when you watch the movie. And, I think it definitely brings a different take on the zombie genre. And I like how, it's basically like a heist movie, but with zombies, and it's kind of simple from that. But it basically is about Hiro Tanaka, who is like a casino owner who wants a team of military mercenaries called the Lost Vengeance. Isn't that cool, right? Lost Vengeance. Is that a cool name? Yeah, I think it's a cool name. But yeah, Lost Vengeance. But they are a team of mercenaries who basically kill zombies, basically, and they're hired to basically take I think a safe of money with $200 million worth of money. But honestly, I just love the premise of the story. I think the narrative could be better though, because I think there's some points to where it's kind of sloppy or seems rushed. I think I was kind of a little iffy on that. Also, I gotta say the cinematography was stunning to look at, but I think the pixels were kind of dead, and sometimes the scenes kind of fade in and out like a blur. Like you can see a blur of that scene. I didn't really care for that at times, but it was great cinematography. I loved it. I loved the coloring and the pixels and everything in the movie. The characters were well developed too. What I didn't care for is how Zack Snyder kind of developed these characters well enough to where you care about them, and then some of the characters do die, and and it's like, oh, that's great. Well, but the funny thing is, I thought it was funny how every character was a marksman in the movie. Like they just headshotted every zombie every time, and it was so funny. But like, Scott's daughter is just such a great marksman. Just shoots every zombie, and then it was funny. And I guess I gotta applaud Amari Hardwick's performance as Vandervoor, because his acting skills and his character was great, and I would say it was a phenomenal performance by him. And Amari Hardwick is a great actor, by the way. If you don't know, he was also on Power and other movies, and Sorry to Bother You, he was on there too. But such a great actor. Also, this is definitely a Zack Snyder film, and he shows it too. I think he had free creative take on the whole movie, and he had creative control too. So it's kind of the movie's basically about 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and it's a pretty long movie. Zack Snyder said it's his Snyder cut, so I mean, I guess Zack Snyder's trending. I guess the Zack Snyder Snyder cut should be like a hashtag of just everything, because I kind of make fun of my friend a little bit, Delvin Williams, and every time I bring up Army of the Dead, I'm like, ready to check out this Biomutant Snyder Cut here, this new game that came out. But I always bug him and just add like Snyder Cut at the end just to upset him or just to laugh at him a little bit, and it's funny. But honestly, I would give this movie 3 out of 5 stars, because I'm giving this a good review and not the 5 stars, because it's a good zombie movie, but it's not a good movie, if you know what I mean. If you love zombies, if you like the zombie movie genre, then this is a good zombie movie, because it has zombies, it has the gore and the grittiness to it. And Dave Bautista's performance was amazing, by the way. He shows his range as an actor too. They had great characters, and some of them die, of course, but it's a great movie to watch. You can watch it on Netflix, or you could watch it at your nearest local theater. So that's the Army of the Dead for you, everyone. But anyways, before I change gears here, if anyone would like to participate on the show, call in. You can call in at 937-775-5555, or you can participate by texting or sending a message through the live chat. And if you have any questions, or if you would like to share what you have been watching lately, or what kind of game you have been playing, let me know, because I will probably watch it or play it. And also, if you are watching it through the YouTube streaming channel, participate by the live chat, and we'll talk about it. So let's change gears here. And John, what are your thoughts on Warner Brothers and what their future content is in their gaming and movies?
Yeah. Well, specifically, I think I like to talk about Warner Brothers games because they have a huge lineup coming of releases, especially for next year, including Hogwarts Legacy, which will be the first Harry Potter open world RPG, Gotham Knights, which is going to be a kind of Arkhamverse style cooperative game, and then they also have the Suicide Squad coming. Now, these are three highly anticipated video games, but recently, as many people know, Warner Brothers was kind of split off, and
With the merger that they just had recently. Yeah, I was kind of worried about that because
Yeah.
it was basically AT&T, Discovery, and every single company that they had, they're merging just so they can compete with Netflix and other streaming platforms. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, and then there's a lot of uncertainty of how Warner Brothers games will be impacted. What studios under that umbrella will be still allowed to continue, and I think personally, major releases like the Harry Potter with the huge IPs, Harry Potter, Gotham Knights, the Lego Star Wars game, I think those are going to be very safe and secure. We already saw, I think, with E3 coming up, Warner Brothers is scheduled already to have a presence there.
Oh,
They're
snap.
confirmed. Yeah.
Get ready to have your hypeness up next level over 9,000. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in that regard we'll be safe, but it's interesting to see, kind of from an outsider's perspective, just how one major deal can impact an entire industry. I think it's super relevant considering that Warner Brothers is probably behind at least a quarter, if not half, of next year's most anticipated games. So that would definitely be a huge blow if they were to cancel any of them. But hopefully, it looks like for now they're all still being released.
They better not cancel them, John, because I'm so anticipated for all these games that they have in store. And I think I heard the Hogwarts Legacy game is also a Sony exclusive. Am I wrong? Or
Nope, that's going to be I think crossplay. I do know it was, I think, one of the most viewed, if not the most viewed, trailer from E3 of last year on YouTube.
yeah,
That's one of the reasons I think too that they're not gonna. There's no chance of that being canceled because you are not only drawing in gamers, you're also drawing in
Harry Potter fans,
which is a huge fan base. I would imagine people that don't even game regularly are going to buy this game.
pretty much.
So for them to
guaranteed.
cancel that would be, in my opinion, extremely foolish. Personally, I grew up with the Harry Potter games as well as the movies and the books. So, a game like this, kind of an open world game where you can create your own character and explore the world fully in depth and not be tied to a certain movie or storyline, I think is a dream come true. So I really look forward to seeing more of it and what they show in the coming weeks, hopefully at E3, because from what I've heard, it's amazing. And the development is, it's been a few years in development. So, it looks like it's made for Harry Potter fans and made for gamers alike.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this because I think I'm definitely gonna get this because it's something that hasn't been done before, and it's a Harry Potter RPG. But, well, I wouldn't say Harry Potter, but Hogwarts RPG, which is something that's different, and it's just something that I'm excited for. Hopefully, they make Harry Potter references, but I think they will maybe, depending on. I think they'll have a couple teachers from the Harry Potter movies, right? Or it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah, from what has been told already, it's set in the 1800s, so it's gonna be.
Oh, that's way before. Yeah,
I think someone mentioned Dumbledore's a possibility, but as far as the other professors, I think they're not born yet.
Okay, yeah, that's way before anybody except for Dumbledore. But yeah,
I think there'll be a lot of like lore and I don't want to say callbacks, because it's going to be call forwards if it hasn't happened yet. But thankfully, the Harry Potter franchise has even just within the core 7 books and 8 films, they've made references to the past. So I think it'll be very easy for them to kind of tie in the whole Harry Potter universe.
Right, I totally agree with that because this is something that you should be excited or anticipated for because it's something that hasn't been done before. An actual Harry or Hogwarts video game or Harry Potter video game that's been incorporated into the Harry Potter franchise, and it has a huge fan base, and just they're gonna make a lot of money from this game for sure. But we can't say for sure so far. We just been showed a trailer, not too much of the gameplay, but I'm sure at E3 in I think it's next week basically, or next couple weeks, we'll probably see some gameplay. But also, what are your thoughts on Gotham Knights?
This one I start off kind of dubious about. I first saw the gameplay, and to me, it looked like just another Arkham game, but kind of expanded, and it just looked average at first, and then I kind of grew on it, and I started to see like all the potential it has with it, and I kind of got over the whole RPG elements, like the health bars that
Right.
they showed, and kind of I'm letting it be its own thing as opposed to the whole Arkham games. But I think I'm really excited for this one too, especially since it's been delayed. I think a lot of developers don't want to repeat Cyberpunk, where they release a game and it's not fully developed and it comes out kind of subpar. So I think we have a lot to look forward to, at least in the quality of games going forward. But I think that Gotham Knights will be another welcome addition, and very expansive addition to the Batman gaming community.
Right. Your thoughts. I so agree with that, because it's just the way it. I like how they're not doing another Batman Arkham game, because I'm kind of getting tired of that, because I think they made enough games to where, okay, we get it. You guys like Batman. Everyone likes Batman, but I'm ready for something else. I like how they're going with Batman's sidekicks or his companions, or I should say the Bat family, or more expanded on that universe. And I like how they have Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and then also Red Hood. I think they'll include more characters, hopefully, but they also said that they'll have their own combat fighting style, and it's well thought out idea that I'm excited for, and I'm excited for the Gotham enemies that will be added to the games. And of course we got Mr. Freeze so far, but also seeing that they're gonna have all the other Batman villains in this game, which I'm very excited for. But it just seems like this game takes place after Arkham Knight, but even though they're saying it's its own universe or different storyline, it's not connected to the Arkham series, but it seems like it is, just away from the trailer and stuff. But
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing. I think one of the most confusing things about it is that you're kind of getting conflicting messages between like what was leaked about it and then what the developer said versus what the plot is looking out to be. So
right.
I guess it'll have to be a wait and see approach. But for me, I think it's funny. They have never done really a modern game set in the Burton universe with the old Michael Keaton Batman films, or even more the Christopher Nolan films, because some fan just made a fan rendition of what a video game would look like in the Tim Burton universe, and they used, I think, Unreal Engine or something like that. And
I haven't seen that yet.
It was so good. It was just the kind of display of what the world would look like, and it was so good that I think Warner Brothers ended up taking it down.
What? Because maybe they might use that in the future. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Maybe, I don't know.
That idea, in a way, I should say.
But I always wonder. I mean, for me, it's just funny that Batman, it has a lot of different film portrayals. I've always found it surprising that none of the video games have really embraced that as much. I mean, I guess with the movie, like Batman Begins, that had its own game, but it's strange to me that we keep having like additional Batman portrayals rather than like going back to some of the ones that actually worked. You know what I mean?
Right. I so agree with that. And just sorry to get off track, but what are your thoughts on, have you ever heard of this actor called Jensen Ackles?
Yes, he was Supernatural, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you think of him as Batman?
I think it could work. I mean, he kind of gives me the same vibes as Robert Pattinson.
I think he's better, man.
I don't I don't know. I mean, I could see him definitely doing it because of kind of his gruff voice, his serious personality. I mean, that would be a possibility, yeah.
I mean, he's Jensen Ackles fan, so like it's kind of like, he's gonna be great as Batman in my opinion. I mean, because like you said, he has that scruffled voice and stuff, but I think he has that personality and mentality as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I'm hopefully he becomes a new main Batman for voice, because he's voice acting for it. But like I'm excited for it. But yeah, I just thought just throw that in there because I'm a huge Jensen Ackles fan from Supernatural, and just I thought what were your thoughts on that? So
yeah, I mean, I think it's doable. I mean, I think there's a lot of different actors that can play Batman, but I definitely understand where you can see he has that kind of witty personality that would allow him to maintain that duo personality of Batman and Bruce Wayne. So I could see it. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see if it was live action.
That'd be different if it was live action too, but I just thought to throw that in there too.
Yeah.
But also back to Gotham Knights, but I think I saw a leak It was a couple weeks ago, but it showed like all the WB games, like their whole video game slot of games in the next couple years. It's just when I saw the leaks of it, they just well, it's not confirmed, but I think it's confirmed because it was so well thought out and detailed, and it kind of had the premise of Gotham Knights. But I think we're in store for a great game because they're gonna have villains on top of villains on top of villains, and yeah, I think we're gonna have a surprise villain too, which I wasn't expecting, but we'll have to deal with the Court of Owls because I think that's a great villain or dash company that the Bat family will face, and I think that we're in store for a great game. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be exciting to kind of see how they portray the different villains. I know the E3 gameplay they showed last year was Mr. Freeze, and it seemed really cool what they did with that.
Right.
You know, it wasn't just kind of a lazy boss fight. It seemed like a real thing. So,
Right.
I definitely look forward to seeing something like with Poison Ivy or Scarecrow, or I know he's the
Killer
newest-
Croc.
Yeah, Killer
or-
Croc or Joker, even though he's in every single Batman game.
Yeah.
But I think in this new mode of performance and gameplay and storyline, I think it would be cool to see them again.
Right. I still agree with that, and it just be nice to see like different takes on each villain, and it seems like that they're gonna have their own tone and feel that they're gonna bring to each boss fight. And I think that is gonna be great, and it's gonna be something that hasn't been done in the Arkham games. Plus, you're playing as the Bat family, and Nightwing is one of my favorite Bat family members too, because he's well, in a way well actually he did become Batman at some point, but he's basically the next Batman in a way. But he's just a cooler version of Robin. I mean, he's the first Robin, but he's just a cooler version of, or the best Robin in my opinion. And it's just I think it's cool. He has like the electric batons and everything. And I think that's pretty cool. But he's my favorite Bat family character. Who's your favorite Bat family character other than Batman?
Other than Batman,
Yeah.
From the Bat family, I would go either Robin or Nightwing. I mean, they're both kind of the same.
Which
sometimes,
Robin?
The what is his name? Tim Grayson or
Jason Tim Drake or
Tim Drake,
or
yeah.
Jason Todd.
Tim Drake.
Jason Todd is Tim Drake, the Rev Robin.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your favorite. Yeah, I don't really care for Damien Wayne at all. What do you think about Damien Wayne?
I don't know too much about him. I haven't gotten too much in the lore of this guy. He's the son of Batman, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the true son of Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's kind of he's a rebel, right? He wants to do more of into the killing.
Yeah, into the
Yeah.
killing, and Batman's trying to teach him not to kill at all, and that's kind of hard for him. But he's basically like a clone of Bruce Wayne. He looks exactly like Bruce Wayne too when he like grows up and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for what they do in the future for Gotham Knights, and I think Gotham Knights is going to be a great game. Let's switch topics here because I like to go on and talk about Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League soon. But for right now, we'll continue back on the Jones Review soon, and we'll continue to talk about Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. So this is Bailey Jones taking a break for a little bit, and we'll come back with you with the Jones Review. So stay tuned, everyone.
Welcome to the Jones Review.
Welcome back to the Jones Review, everyone. This is B. Jones coming at you with the latest in entertainment content. Also, please hit that subscribe button if you can, please, on WWSU 106.9 FM if you haven't done that yet.
Yeah, feel free. You get the notifications about the Jones Review and any other shows we have. We got the morning show coming back up, and as always, we got Testa and Neil Keep It Real that we stream on YouTube as well. We got a lot of great content. Now, like I said, if you're a listener of the Jones Review, we're right here. You get the notifications when we go live.
All right, back to the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, John. What are your thoughts on that game? Because I'm highly anticipated for that game.
So I'm not so sure about this one because the trailer we saw at E3 was CGI.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine it's going to be a wonderful co-op game, but it's hard to kind of gauge what I think about it without seeing any gameplay. Is it co-op or?
Yeah, it's going to be co-op. Yeah, it's going to be co-op.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, is it like going to be more like a villain Gotham Knights, or is it going to be, something unique in its own right? So I don't know.
I mean, it's by I gotta say that Gotham Knights is gonna be made by WB Montreal, the people that made Batman Arkham Origins, and Rocksteady is making Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. And I think they were talking about if this game goes well, they might make a Justice League game after this. But I'm excited for this game because they're actually going to show off the Justice League and Suicide Squad. Isn't that crazy? And they're going to fight against each other, or kill each other, basically. But I think the premise of it is that Brainiac invades Earth. And I think Rocksteady confirmed this too, but they're saying that this literally, like, the timeline takes place after Arkham Knight. Which I'm like, I mean, it doesn't line up because just the way the story is, or it would seem like it just wouldn't fit well each other. Because it's like, how is Batman away doing his things when he doesn't see Brainiac coming, invading Earth and stuff? So, and yeah,
I'm just surprised we haven't got yet a standalone Superman game from Rocksteady because everyone was looking at the leaks and they're like, oh, it's a new Superman game coming on. Oh, but no, it's a new Batman game coming. And it's kind of funny how it was neither. I mean,
yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, these people were like, oh, the Court of Owls thing, Rocksteady's doing that. But then it turned out to be, the other division, Warner Brothers Montreal. And then Rocksteady's doing Suicide Squad. So I find it funny that in that regard, the leaks were a little strange.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a Superman game even before the Suicide Squad because
I love Superman. He's my favorite DC character. Of course he's crazy overpowered, but he's a great person. He's a great Kryptonian, I should say, because he's not human. But I really hope that Rocksteady takes in consideration that they can make a Superman game. I understand it's hard, but I see it as a game because I think it could happen. Hopefully, because they made too many Batman games. I mean, if they make another Batman game, I'm probably gonna play it, but I'm not gonna like it as much as I want to because they have 4 Batman games. I don't think they need any more. Well, except for like spinoffs, basically. But if they can make a Superman game, I think they're trying to wait on the Superman game. I heard, but I mean, I think it was canceled. But I think they're trying to wait out and just have Superman in the game because I think they're trying to test out how Superman would look in this game before they make a Superman game. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, maybe you could even have a section where you play as him in this.
Oh yeah,
game.
That's true. Yeah,
because he's more of a villain in this one, right?
Yeah, because I think I already know the premise, but it seems like Brainiac might make clones of these superheroes or try to capture them or contain them to where they basically makes clones of each hero of the Justice League, or they could be just mind controlling them. It could be mind controlling. But for the Justice League members that are in the game, you have Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Hawk Girl, I think, is in the game too. And I heard Robin might be in the game too, which is weird. So I don't know. I think it'll be an interesting take. I think Batman might show up, in my opinion, or it might be a different incarnation of Batman, depending on after the events of Arkham Knight was. But I think this is going to be a great game because I heard that you might be able to play as Killer Croc, like the original Suicide Squad members. Like they have Deadshot, King Shark, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, so far for like the main four Suicide Squad characters. And then what I heard recently, you get to play as Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze, Bizarro, maybe even Sinestro, or all these other Justice League villains that are opposite from their counterparts. But I'm excited for this different take on Suicide Squad because it says Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, which I'm kind of a little afraid about because they might actually kill the Justice League members. Like, hopefully it's not too brutal. But I think I seen some like some of the pictures or graphics on what it looks like so far, and it's amazing. If you look it up on like IMDb, like they actually show like the graphics of the game, and I think it looks amazing. And I think it's something that you should be excited for. And the trailer was pretty cool, but that's just CGI, so they haven't shown gameplay. But I really hope they show gameplay at this E3 showcase because I'm really excited for E3. And I didn't really like Summer Game Fest last summer because it wasn't really E3. So I'm just happy that they're doing E3 digitally. And hopefully we'll see what's in store for E3 and all these Warner Brother games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's so exciting that we have at least 4 games from Warner Brothers to look forward to. So we know we're at least going to get gameplay of at least one of them, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So there's at least something to always look forward to for next week.
Yeah, so agree with that. What do you think of like the feature movies that Warner Brothers has?
I've kind of, from an outsider view, I've kind of been of the opinion that they really need to find a way to build a cohesive universe. Because right now I feel like, they've tried over and over again to kind of do what the MCU has done. First it was, they had the Nolan films, and then Man of Steel came out, and we were like, oh, is that going to be in the Nolanverse or not? And it wasn't, and then that created the whole Zack Snyder universe. Mm-hmm. And now we're doing it all over again with Robert Pattinson's Batman. So, I think there's still a lot of potential, and obviously a lot of new releases are coming out, but as far as the universal, universe that spans the different characters, it's hard for me to see like how they're building it together. So I think starting now, it's kind of coming together. They're obviously they're kind of merging universes, bringing back Michael Keaton for Batman, with the Flash. But when I look at it, it just seems a little more messy than Marvel.
I agree.
I wish there would be. I really loved DC back in the 90s when it was the Burton films, and then even when we got to the early 2000s when it was the Nolan films. So it's like I kind of wish, at least from the Batman perspective, we would kind of go back to that classic mode,
right?
And I think the Robert Pattinson movie might do that, with Catwoman being in it, and Batman and
Riddler and Penguin and everything.
Yeah,
I know what you mean by that. Yeah, hopefully they have one shared universe for DC, but I think they should just have franchises that have one cohesive storyline that they continue it over the movies in their franchises and or franchisees, I should say. Also, I think they're going to develop or expand on the multiverse that they've been talking about with the Flash. And I think that it'll explain more about that in the Flash. And of course, it'll be like him going to different universes, and then he meets up with Michael Keaton's Batman. So I think it's going to be a great movie, but hopefully they continue off of the multiverse. And I think I heard that they just might make like random movies based off of the multiverse. Maybe hopefully they just like continue one story. Well, also I heard that the Flash is supposed to rebirth like a new DC universe. Or rebrand it and everything to where it's just one storyline, hopefully. But I'm excited for the Flash because I'm excited to see the different universes or different multiverses and everything. And it's just to see Michael Keaton's Batman again is just crazy. And I think I showed you like a picture of like the new release picture of Michael Keaton's Batman symbol.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
and they're also doing a comic book sequel to Batman Returns.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's going to have Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman in it. I can only wish it was a movie, but yeah, they're actually, I think it's supposed to be based on
Supposed to continue it, right?
Right.
When we watch the Flash movie.
well, I think it's inspired by what the original screenplay was for Tim Burton's third Batman film. If you are based on his ideas, at least, of what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I read somewhere that they're also including Harvey Dent, the one we saw in the original Batman. Who was, I forget who was played by.
Tom and Lee, Joe?
I think, yeah, that was him.
Oh.
No. Sorry, that was Batman Forever. This one, I think he was played by the same guy that did Lando in Star Wars.
Wait, he was Harvey Dent?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Or I think it was him. But anyway,
I know who you're talking about. I didn't know.
There was, briefly in the original Batman film, it was just, him speaking. And I think Tim Burton said he had plans to make him Two-Face in like a later film, but that never happened once, Joel Schumacher took over.
Yeah.
And they changed the universe.
Yeah. Those are some crazy Batman movies, man. I think they were super corny too.
Yeah, but I thought they were still imaginative, just different tonally.
Right. But anyways, I know I talked about this in my last episode, but I'm really anticipated for it. I would like to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. So what are your thoughts on that movie, John?
I'm extremely excited for this one. Not just because of the leaks that are, theorizing that we'll see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield return as Spider-Man, but for the confirmed fact that we have Alfred Molina returning as Doc Ock, and not only just as Doc Ock, but as Spider-Man 2's Doc Ock.
Yeah.
So we essentially have confirmation that
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield is going to be in the movie.
And even if not that at least, the universes from the older Spider-Mans are combining with this one.
Right.
That I'm just super excited about because those are the ones I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Spider-Man 2 had a very poetic ending, and some consider it perfect even.
Mm-hmm.
I think, there's going to be the potential that ending will be ruined for some because basically it was confirmed that Doc Ock goes through a portal or something.
Yeah, it looked like he went through a portal basically, and it seemed like I've been hearing a lot of plot leaks lately, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just the way it seems like it. And I'm just gonna say this: Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are gonna be in the movie at some point, and it's gonna happen. Okay, like I don't know how they're making it way too obvious when they're not trying to confirm it at all, just so it can be a surprise. But I'm confirming it that they're in the movie, they're on the merchandise, and it's literally they literally spell it out for you. They're gonna be in the movie without even saying it. So hopefully,
you're the one who decided it.
Yeah, I'm the one who decided it basically. But I think they might be in the teaser trailer that might come out soon because I saw that there was a leak for it on the trailers and when the trailer's going to come out, and then I saw it might be next week. That would be crazy. Hopefully that happens, but they're so in the movie. What do you think?
I think there's a very strong possibility. I don't think they'll be in it as much as people want them to.
Right.
But I definitely think they'll make an appearance. At least one of them will. It only seems natural with Doc Ock being in it, or at least some indication in the film that they're going to return. Because why would you go through all that trouble of bringing Doc Ock back if you're not going to bring back those two? I'm just interested to see the extent to which we'll have the universes combined, because at this point we have people theorizing that Emma Stone, Kristen Dunst are all returning as their characters, and even now they're talking about a whole Sinister Six being set up with the Lizard and Green Goblin.
Yeah, from the previous movies, which is incredible. I like how they're actually reusing their original villain characters to be those villain characters on this or in this movie. And I think we were talking about. I think we heard Willem Dafoe might be the main Green Goblin too, and then Alfred. What was his name again?
Molina.
I keep forgetting his last name for some reason. Alfred Molina gonna be the Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, and then Spider-Man 3. I heard that the original Sandman might be in it too. Yeah. I was just going crazy with it too.
Yeah, at this point, it's almost hard to believe. I mean, if they have managed to keep things under wrap, at least in terms of set photos and confirmed actor presences, that's honestly a miracle.
Yeah.
Because of course you're gonna have the leaks. But I think it would hopefully open up the door for Sony to return to the previous two franchises. I personally was very disappointed when The Amazing Spider-Man was canceled because despite popular opinion, I actually wanted to see it go beyond Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I kind of liked where they were going, even if the execution of that movie wasn't the best. Same for the Sam Raimi films. I think that we all know Spider-Man 4 was planned, and it was supposed to have an amazing script. And like Anne Hathaway was supposed to be Black Cat, and John Malkovich was supposed to be the Vulture. I think. I don't know. It could obviously it's been 10 years past when it was supposed to come out. It couldn't be exactly the same. I don't even know if they would call it Spider-Man 4, but just to have another Tobey Maguire standalone film would be, I think, wonderful.
I think I heard with how Doctor Strange's Madness of the Multiverse might be because Sam Raimi's directing it. I heard that they're having a storyline, like a consecutive storyline that has WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home, and then Doctor Strange Madness of the Multiverse. Just to have that multiverse storyline, which I like. I love the multiverse and everything that they're doing in those two different brand franchise, name franchises, Marvel and DC with the multiverse. But I don't know, just like it seems like they're spelling out for us that they're gonna go crazy on this multiverse storyline with No Way Home, and Doctor Strange is in the movie too. They confirmed that. So I'm just thinking he's gonna open that portal and just have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield come out and be like, "Oh, there's your other selves, Peter." And just be like, "What's up?"
Yeah, but I don't know if he's behind all of the portals, because I thought, and I never thought of this until it was brought up that Doc Ock's returning from the moment he was drowning in the river.
Right.
But I think it's going to be his sun experiment, his fusion reactor from number 2 that brings him back, because that was essentially like a giant sun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what happens when sun dies? When a sun dies, or star
creates
dies,
a black hole, right?
Yeah, and black holes are
creates
to be wormholes.
Yeah, to another universe.
It's funny, I never thought of that.
Me neither. That's smart, John.
When I watched Spider-Man 2, I always thought that it just fetches away, but
that makes sense though, honestly, when you think about it, because it just, that's a great idea, John.
Well,
I see that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like that could be the story plot of it. Like, literally like he, Dr. Octopus made a power of the sun to where it basically died off and became a black hole, and then he transferred into another universe maybe. But that would be crazy, John. That would be a great storyline to do.
Well, the leaks are saying now that the No Way Home title is about the villains. It's not Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, No Way Home. Yeah.
I can see how they would bring back Doc Ock and Electro, but I don't know how they're gonna bring back. Like, I don't know how they're getting the Lizard and Green Goblins through this new universe.
Yeah.
Unless they do like make them characters from the Holland universe, but I don't think that'd be wise, because if William Dafoe's Green Goblin, I want him to be the Green Goblin he was from in
the Raimi universe. Yeah. And I think I heard that, I think Sony and Marvel are working well enough in Sam Raimi that they might I heard that they're coming back with Tobey Maguire's universe, maybe. But I heard it's like it might be definite. It might make a Spider-Man 4, but it won't be called that. But I heard that it might happen too. And they might continue that because of Sony, because they want to work with Marvel and everything. What are your thoughts on, sorry to get sidetracked, but what are your thoughts on Venom, Let There Be Carnage?
I haven't even given the original one a try yet.
What? That's a good movie.
I know, I've heard good things about it. I don't know if it's just because I have a tie to Spider-Man, and I'm like, a Venom movie without Spider-Man I have no interest in, but from what I've seen, I've heard a lot of conflicting things about the original. I've heard that it's a little too funny for some people, and then, I just want to see, I think we really need a Venom Spider-Man pair up that does it right. Spider-Man 3 didn't really do it right, in my opinion.
Right, I agree.
I think Carnage, this one looks really interesting because Woody Harrelson really has the potential to play no pun intended, a venomous character.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he, looks pretty crazy in this one. So, it's going to probably spur me to check out the first one. Because Carnage, I think, the Red Venom, he was always, to me, scarier than the original one.
Yeah, he's crazier too. Like, he just straight up like killing people and stuff. And, it's Carnage and it's crazy. So, yeah. But I'm excited for the movie, though. It's directed by Andy Serkis, who directed Mowgli. which I really liked, and it was a different take on Mowgli and the Jungle Book franchise. So I like his directorial debut when he was making that movie, and I'm happy that he's the director of Let There Be Carnage, because I think he'll show range for Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson in the movie too. So I'm excited for him directing the movie. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for what they do with No Way Home, because I think it's for the Spider-Man fans that really like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. But if they release this movie, I really think it's going to bring all them fans together into one room like Endgame. I think it'll make more money than Endgame, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if it'll make more at the box office than Endgame. Hopefully, I think we're due for a major explosive return to the movie theaters, which we're kind of seeing with The Quiet Place Part 2. After this pandemic, I really think that will be a great film to really signify that movie theaters are back, at least towards the scale of Endgame. You know, when we had these massive auditoriums sold out for days on end. You know, I don't think this is a film that should be released exclusively on streaming. So I'm excited to see, you know, where it goes with the theater release and how much it's going to help movie theaters.
I totally agree with that. And I have a funny story to tell real quick. I went to go see Quiet Place Part 2, but I didn't want to do my review yet for it, but I'll probably do it for my future, my next episode. But I went with my friend Agbamir, and we were like going to go see Quiet Place Part 2, but we went to the Green and it was sold out. And we're like, how? I'm like, the movie came out like literally Friday, and like people had enough time to go see it and stuff. And I'm like, how is it sold out? And then like we watched it and stuff. But like, I thought it was funny how like they sold out a movie theater after COVID times, which I thought was interesting because with how COVID is and everything. But I mean, I'm sure people are getting vaccinated and everything. Not to go too in depth with that, but hopefully that kind of coincides with, you know, with everything changing and going back to the way things were that used to be with movie theaters. Yeah. So I was just surprised by how when I went to the movies the other day, they sold out Quiet Place Part 2, even though it's like one of the hottest movies out right now. But I was just surprised by how many people went to go see it in the movie theater, if you know what I mean. On like I think it was a Monday or Tuesday. No, I think it was a Tuesday. Yeah, on a Tuesday, John.
Yeah, Tuesday is strange. I think people are there's a lot of pent up demand right now. I think the future is a little bit different. We'll have more of a balance between streaming and theaters, but I think it would be absolutely ludicrous to just rule out theaters because it's an experience, and there are some bad experiences for sure. Like you mentioned, yours wasn't so optimal. Yeah,
that I cannot that we can't talk about on the radio show because they're very explicit things that I wasn't pleased with at the movie theater, and hopefully people know how to act at a movie theater, hopefully, because I'm just sick of going to the movies and having to deal with people sometimes, and you know. But the last couple movie theater experiences I had were pretty good, and I had it with my dad and then with my friend Ag, and it were pretty good movie experiences. So, but yeah, it just for some reason people don't know how to act after COVID in movie theaters, and it was just crazy experiences. I'm just like, really? And it just kind of ruined the movie theater experience for me for the last couple, not the last couple times, but the two previous times before I went to the movies with my dad too. And also my dad wanted me to say that when I brought up Army of the Dead, we watched it together, that he doesn't like zombie movies because he told this one story about Freddy Krueger that he had back in the day, and it scared him for life. So, but I was surprised he watched Army of the Dead with me, and he thought it was a good zombie movie, and it was okay. And I sort of agree. And my friend Delvin, he's highly against it too, and I always bring it up too, and everything. But I like how they're just coming out with movies. I like how Netflix stepped up with their movies this year to continue on, and also HBO Max. I like how you can just watch a movie from Warner Brothers, and they just come out with the movie, and they just came out with the movie Conjuring 3, and that came out today. So if you guys want to check that out, that will be on HBO Max or at your local nearest theater. But also, time to wrap things up here. I'd like to thank everyone who listened onto my show today. Thank you very much for your time to listen to me and talk with my brother right here, Jon Knecht, and talk with my other brother here, Scott Kramer, who's
not too much talking for me today. Y'all want to talk about some foreign topics, but as always, good to be here, bro.
But yeah, I appreciate Scotty for making this thing a dream come true, and thank you everyone for your love and support, and thank you for the feedback. And hope you guys stay tuned for next week's episode because I'll have another guest on the show here, but I don't think Scotty might be here, but I think someone else might be here to help me out with the show. But it was great to have my show streamed on YouTube, and also thank you everyone for listening and helping me out with the show. So hope everyone has a nice day. Take care. Thank you. And this is Bailey Jones signing off on the Jones Review. So thank you, Jon Knecht, for being on my show today, and have a nice day, everyone.